Yeah, did you find the right spot, Simona? It's always a bit getting used to it. But I think we can open now officially, I would say. Please take a seat, you all. Also the audience, the graduates. Welcome to you all. First of all, welcome to all the graduates. It's a true pleasure that you're here. Most of you I know, but it's even those that do not. We're so proud to have you all here to get the diploma. Also, a great welcome to all the friends, the family, everyone in the audience, to being here today at the master graduation. And you're actually in the last session because you think like, oh, is this Department of Industrial Design having so little master students, and can we be proud of so kind of, you can count them almost on two hands. But actually we have a huge amount of master students, and that was too much, and that's why we're dividing it in 3 sessions. Let me first start by introducing myself. I'm Professor Caroline Hamels, which I normally would always say I'm Caroline Hamels, but I'm also a professor at this department. I have the honor of leading the ceremony today. In the previous sessions, we had the dean, and we had, actually, I don't know who else we had. But it's my true pleasure to do it today, because for me, I work here now for quite some time. This is the most beautiful moment that we have at the department. For all the coaches sitting there, I think the love for education is what binds us all. And it's the love for not only seeing you find yourself as designers, but I think also the love for us in seeing you to become humans, to really figure out who you are. And I think that kind of combination of trying to find yourself in these years during your study, as well as figuring out who you are becoming as designers in the world, is for us a journey that is simply beautiful. Because now the road has come to an end, at least for us within the institution. You can now stand on your own 2 feet, but that can only happen if you get the real proof that is on the other side. So for now, you're still students. As soon as you get the diploma, you finally, I would almost say, get rid of us, but that sounds not really good. So, but you have the proof that you can stand on your 2 feet and have a beautiful career out there in the professional world. So, what we basically do during the ceremony is we ask every student forward. We ask all the coaches, the specific coach that coached the student forward, and we give a few minutes just to have a chat to show a bit about what it is that the student did, what the relation was, so that everyone can basically also follow a bit this ceremony. Then after we've done all that, we have a short break in the middle. After we have handed over all the diplomas, then we have a few more talks, but afterwards we get a drink, and that is actually the moment that you can congratulate them, that you can have the photos together. So at the end, we also will have a drink all together to celebrate this festive moment. I think we can move forward now with the first coach. Professor Stefan Wensveen, I would like to ask Alex de Kruijf. And apparently there's somewhere, there's a beautiful black cross on. But I would say just make it a bit comfortable. The floor is all yours.
Doing the big magic trick. Dear Alex, or should I say Alexander Steven de Kruijf. Dear Alex, it's a great honor and pleasure for me to stand here next to you, about to hand you your Master of Science diploma. To be specific, a Master of Science diploma in Industrial Design from the Eindhoven University of Technology. Because that's what you wanted to become here in the last 2 years, an industrial designer. You already had earned a Bachelor of Science in Psychology and Technology. You called yourself an HCI practitioner, but wanted to become a designer. The best way to make that transition is through what I believe is the key difference between them, and that is through the competence of creativity and aesthetics. Because of your background, you had no problem in reading papers about aesthetics. And I want to thank you for pointing me to relevant new papers on animism, for example, or demonstrating how old papers on ludic engagement gained new meaning in the context of aesthetics of intelligence. I also want to thank you for joining me on our adventure to explore how to design for an aesthetics of intelligence. An aesthetics that goes beyond the visual appearance of a physical, beyond the sensual way of interacting or a seamless user experience. No, we were discussing the aesthetics of uncertainty, the experience of unfamiliarity, curiosity-driven exploration, or the embodiment of predictability. This points to your curiosity and also your great analytical skills. However, the main reason I could discuss this with you was because your exceptional prototyping skills, incorporating generative design methods, engineering skills, 3D printing, electronics, and the underlying AI technologies and machine learning algorithms to design and build fully working prototypes for small ecologies of things, exploring the aesthetics of intelligence in the everyday. You built these fully working prototypes that I could only experience through teams. So although you had managed to find the opportunities within COVID restrictions to realize these prototypes, ordering components, making sure that it was made, also at home, I could only see the videos. However, this also trained your skills in how to communicate and explain machine intelligence in graphical models, sometimes even animated graphical layers on top of videos. For me, and I think for all the teachers and also students, this generation marks a special generation. Often, you were my only window into other worlds while I was sitting at my kitchen table, looking into their student rooms, but more, I think, the conceptual worlds out there. And I thank you, Alex, but also Melvin and Bart, for keeping my window open during those weird COVID times. I have already, and now again, want to thank you for that. Dear Ingenieur de Kruijf, dear Alex, congratulations on becoming a Master of Science in Industrial Design from Eindhoven University of Technology. Also, my congratulations to family and friends, and I wish you all the best for your future.
Fotomoment. Ik zal je niet
Staan ze er? Oh. Oh, yeah.
So I have the honor, Stefan is staying, but I have the honor of asking forward Bart Polite.
Dear Bart, dear family and friends of Bart, and dear audience. Bart's project was titled DESFI, Design Fiction Through Film for Emerging Technology. I don't think I have to explain Bart's master project to you. He probably already explained it to almost every visitor during last Dutch Design Week at the Design United exhibition in the Klokgebouw, Stijp S. You can also see it on the Design United website because it was chosen as one of the projects of the 4 universities of technology. I also don't have to explain his M12 research project, as you already presented that also in the up-close and personal talk show during the previous Dutch Design Week, where again it was selected for the Design United exhibition. The exhibition of the 4 universities of technology, where Wageningen is the 4th one. I also don't have to explain you about his internship project at the famous Studio Drift, as I'm not allowed to tell you this because of confidentiality. However, one of these days you will be amazed about the beauty of nature and the wonder of floating pieces of technology in the art and design installation by Studio Drift. It's also hard for me to present his work, as I would probably do a very lousy job compared to Bart's own presentations. The final presentation of his master project was marked the most creative presentation I have ever seen at Industrial Design. And this wasn't coming from just me, but also the current program director of Industrial Design, Dr. Lu Yan. The presentation style is impressive, bold, and highly entertaining. It was a perfect fit for the project, showcasing augmented and virtual reality technology. Also perfectly situated in the current corona, where work and life are fully integrated in the confined physical and conceptual space of a student room. It was also an excellent showcase for your professional identity. So far now, it seems that I'm handing in the diploma as a magician of science, with smoke and mirrors, and that he's a great storytelling and a great video maker. However, that doesn't do justice to, I think, your core competence, that's being an excellent designer. Based on a good foundation of academic research, exploring the opportunities of new technologies. His prototyping skills are amazing, done with speed, so every week, new prototypes. Robustness, fully working, and they kept on working. Creativity and a sensitivity for aesthetics. I still vividly remember when we actually could physically meet during COVID and you showed me those AR explorations. So next to a magician of science, he's also a master of science. Well, perhaps you already realized from all these projects, these excellent projects at Dutch Design Weeks, but also because of his average grade for courses that were quite high and high enough. So why this diploma is also mentioning cum laude. So congratulations, Bart, family and friends. It is amazing.
So, and I would like to ask forward Axel van Bokstel. And he was coached by me, so I have the honor of staying here. Can you imagine which mistake I made when writing my notes?
Probably my name.
So, as of the first time that I met Axel, I remember three things. His huge, big smile. I mean, it's always there, and it's just one big pleasure to look at. Your hugely impressive portfolio of what you've done before at the Industrial Project Design School during your bachelor. And somehow I made the wrong click because I thought your name was Alex.
You're not alone.
And I think it took me, well, I noticed that a year ago I somehow made the switch finally to have it automated that I would call you Axel, and then today I was making the notes again and bam, there it was. Family, friends in the audience? All at the first row. Oh, perfect. Welcome to this beautiful moment. Because I can only say you must be so proud of him. I'm at least very proud, and I know that you're also very proud of what you've done. It was really a beauty to see when you came in and did your research project. You have this beauty of being, on the one hand, really good in aesthetics, having a very nice feel and sensitivity towards design. But also you have this way of standing in the world, like almost a small kid that wants to explore it, and you really would like to explore it. So you did not even knock that much on my door, because you really wanted to figure out what design research what this whole academic endeavor in design actually was. And in that sense, I sometimes really had to knock on your door. It's like, hey, are you still there? I mean, do we have conversations? But the beauty is that you always came back with something intriguing. And even when things did not go exactly as you planned, because you wanted to go to Asia, you had all these plans of going out, and then COVID kicked in, which was quite a bummer. But I think what we also see back here in his final master project is those little things, if I may call them little, they don't hold you back. You have a huge ambition to go for the best. So you wanted to work with Philips Design, which is quite a tough, working with Simona and with Brian is for those that do not know them, it's quite a challenging job. But you said, I do not only want to work with Philips Design and work on a health project, but actually I am really interested in creative leadership. So how can, on the one hand, I really work with this pregnancy toolkit and work for migrants and figuring out how to support them in the clash. But meanwhile, you actually were doing a project on the side and really figuring out what creative leadership is. Because you had the discussion with Miguel at that point of time, who was at that point Director of Education, he said, it's nice that you have your leadership and entrepreneurial track, but I actually don't think that is up to par with what you should have as a department. So hence you created a framework where you think that we also as a design department could make use of again. And I think that ambition, that drive, in combination with that passion and aesthetics, will bring you very far in this world. And I can only be extremely proud that you trust me to do this road a bit together. And I'm looking forward to seeing where all the journeys will take you in the future. But for now, I can only congratulate you becoming a Master of Science in Industrial Design. So congrats. I have to find your diploma. So when you check it says Axel, eh?
Yeah.
So at least that's one. Then I have to get the flowers because you have to do everything by yourself. And then I can finally congratulate you.
Thank you wel. Thank you.
Congrats. Axel. Did I already say your name or? No. It's always nice to have a bit of teasing in here. Eh? No. I'm extremely proud. Jessie Harms. What I like about you, this is exactly what it is, this proactive kind of dealing with the world and moving forwards. That's, I think, what I loved so much coaching you during all these years. Is your family and friends over? Always like to, hey, hello, really good that you're here. What can I say about you? I think this is the whole point. You go there, you basically stand into life, you want to make a difference. You're very activist in also the sustainability and moving the world. And I think that was the beauty that I got to know you throughout all the projects. You did a minor with the Design Academy on energy. You did research projects on our end. You worked into speculative design. You developed it further by stepping into the world of Hamels, doing your research and your design projects in there, developing it further, now working still with them, I guess. Unfortunately, the departments that you are working with, the explorers, will no longer be maintained within Hamels. But I'm so convinced that you will find your way also because you've developed so many skills. But I think what I want to say that I'm the most, I don't even envy it, but I'm so taken by, is that you had quite a few drawbacks in your life, health-wise. I mean, talking about people who wanted to have some experience and life experience, I think you ticked already all the boxes. And it was really stressful, and I think your family know that it was really difficult at points of time. And then the beauty was that you always find the way of the balance between vulnerability, taking care of yourself, and still this power woman on the other side. And I think that combination of allowing for vulnerability, but also not giving in to all the struggles that you had, and still have such a beautiful project, which is really about helping the world adapting to a new world, actually, on energy transition and making this board game so that with hundreds of citizens, we can now actually play and figure out how we can make the next step in an actionable way. I think that combination is something that actually moved me throughout this journey. And I can only say that I'm extremely proud that you are becoming a Master of Design. So I have to get the diploma, make sure that it's the right one. So, sure that this is correct. Then we have a nice flower to go with it. Congratulations. And then I have the pleasure to hand over yet another diploma to Britt Smulders. Looking forward, Britt? Family around? Hello, good to see you all here. Yeah, so you left us, but you actually didn't leave us, huh? So for those that do not know Britt, which I can hardly, it's difficult to imagine, because you made quite an impact during your study. Britt did not only do a fairly complicated, or I should say complex project, because she loves complexity, and to work with it in a complex context of the province and also of energy transitions. But you have to deal with so many stakeholders, and the beauty of designers is that they have a hands-on take into this complexity. And you already started with your final bachelor project, where you were already part of our squad. And I still remember that here it was Chris Janssen, one of the heads of Philips Design. He was coming over, and he was really convinced that you were a master's student. He said, well, this level and this quality, it can't be true that it's still a bachelor student. Eh? But he was also so impressed because you were always intrigued by innovation sciences and design and somewhere operating at the cross-section. It wasn't always easy because, you know, as soon as you marched into your master project and did it again with Philips Design, all those lovely words were kind of evaporating. And then you saw another side. But I think the beauty of that was that you actually saw what business can also be and what industry can be and how hard it sometimes can be. And I think that slowly but certainly moved you also into the direction of doing a PhD and saying, like, I'm interested in this complexity. So let's dive into that a bit further. And during your trajectory, it's not only that you thought that the master's was enough, but on top, you still even did an honors program, which is actually for the excellent students that think that they can't do enough or it's too easy to do a master. They have plenty of C's of extra time. So Britt also worked there with Marielle Swinkels on elderly care in rural villages, really working with warm data. And slowly but certainly things came together, and I was not surprised at all, but also extremely happy when during your master's you knocked on our doors and at some point said, yes, I already got a PhD position. So the fact why I said she's not really gone is, I think, I don't know if we counted the steps, but it's like 50 meters away from where we're sitting. It's on the 6th floor, and the yellow side of the building is going now to the 6th floor on the blue side of the building. So she's still very close by. Is very happy. I'm very happy that you're also still part of us community, and this morning you were also around. But let's make sure that before you get the diploma of the PhD, you first and foremost we make sure that you are a master of industrial design. So I will get the diploma. And the flowers, of course. Yeah. So. Yeah, so Congratulations. So then we move on, and I'm extremely pleased to ask forward Else Linde van Doleweert, mijn excuses, en Miguel Bruns.
Okay. Wow. It's been a long time ago since we could stand here and hand out diplomas. I'm very glad that we can do this again. I have a very long story for you, Else Linde. Because whenever I have to give a presentation about our education, I always like to tell your story as an example. Starting as a first-year student, you took the basic forgiving course that Bart, Joop, and I were teaching at the time, and you impressed us with the quality of your design, which, well, the final design was made of clay, as I remember well. And at that time, you already had an interest for food and asked me what you could do with that at industrial design. So I told you that I had coached some projects in the smart kitchen in the past and run a course that involved cooking, but food had never really been a clear and present topic in the department. And therefore, I advised you to continue developing and approach me for your final bachelor's project if food would still be part of your vision. And at the end of the second year, you approached me again. You're planning to do a minor in food technology at Wageningen University and asked if my promise to coach you for your final bachelor project would still hold. And given my interest in food and remembering your skills as a first-year student, I of course welcomed your idea and we started to discuss your plans. So in your FPP, you already impressed many with your idea to 3D print beautiful creations using food waste streams. And a project attracted a lot of interest both within and outside the university. And you doubted whether to proceed with the master, as you thought that there was no room for your vision, but I'm glad that we convinced you to stay. So during your master, you first continued with your final bachelor project, turning your idea into a startup, printing food, as part of your first project, and you started to attract your first clients and worked amongst others with the Karpenongse Hoeve and served the creations to the committee of our research accreditation. I think Stefan and Caroline were testing that dinner at the time. So I thoroughly enjoyed trying out some of the ideas and concepts that you brought during our coach meetings and discussing new recipes and exciting experiments. But for your research project, we needed to define a new challenge. You continued to work on food from waste streams, but we discussed how you could use shape change, my research topic, and connect it to food. So you developed a beautiful concept, combining colorful paper made from waste streams of carrots and beets, origami, and hydrogels made from waste streams of crustaceans, to create a package that opened on your plate after adding vinegar or lemon juice. And I always have to laugh when Thomas tastes the package in the video every time I show it. So with your network connections and social media coverage, you got experts in chemistry of food interested who connected you to world-class chefs. Your concept was developed further, combining food science, 3D printing, chemistry, creativity, and an amazing aesthetics at one of the most avant-garde restaurants in Denmark. And although at some point in the master we made this sketch of your future vision and we put Noma in there, I believe Alchemist, which was nominated Best Restaurant in Europe last year, was a worthy alternative. And I do believe that René Redzepi also has an eye on you, as I sometimes see his ideas that look a lot like your creations from the past. So during your master, you won many prizes. You're among the top Dutch sustainable entrepreneurs and presented your work all over the world. Not just at Dutch Design Week in Beijing for the European Commission, you attended a trade mission in Israel with the Minister of Foreign Trade and Development Corporation, Sigrid Kaag, and you were invited to a meeting with the Prime Minister, Mark Rutte, on the circular economy. And during your assessment, our former dean, Arnold Brombacher, argued that few professors had achieved such performance. You already had several offers before graduating to work with the best chefs in Europe, and you already started working on the Low Food Lab, researching the future of Dutch cuisine with, amongst others, Joris Beidendijk from Restaurant Rijks. Your creation will become part of the menu of Alchemist, and I'm very happy that you also partly stayed with us to set up a new squad on sustainable future food systems to continue research and education in this area. So last week, we heard that our paper about your research project was accepted for TI. So you not only did research in a novel area, your work starts defining new avenues in the field of human-food interaction and industrial design. You worked in the R&D department of a world-class restaurant and showed leadership and entrepreneurial skills through your startup endeavors with Upprinting Food. Your work demonstrates excellent levels of integration as well as expertise in all areas. And as agreed by a panel of actually very tough assessors, your professional skills, identity, and vision development were all at an excellent level. So consequently, we could only argue to give you the first 10 for a master's student in our department. Congratulations.
Yeah, you have to be introduced again, Miguel. But first of all, I would like to call forward Julie Moons. Julie Moons. And of course, again, Miguel Bruns.
Okay, Julie. Now your story. It's going to be an exciting one as well. I can tell. So, dear Julie, well, with Elsa-Linda, there was a clear connection from the first year after the involvement in basic forgiving skills. Our start went somewhat different, I think. So you were more a rational student, stronger in mathematics at the time than in creativity and aesthetics. And I had my doubts when I had to work with you as a member of our communication team. And you were not the type of students that I connected well with in the beginning. However, I think everything changed when we got to know each other better during your final bachelor's project. Both you and Elsa-Linda, and I think also Jessie at the time, were working at Innovation Space, the first students in Innovation Space doing their final bachelor project. And you actually did an individual project. And after a small detour, I think with Bart, you also worked on a food project for Siemens and went to Munich to present it. You approached me to become your graduation mentor. First, you investigated what role the vision played in the development of our alumni. You interviewed 22 of our graduates and shared their stories, for which I invited you to tell these stories and yours during our education day to inspire our coaches and lecturers. A great project that I wanted to investigate further, but instead, you wanted to work on shape change and soft robotics. So you showed me the work of Marie-Louise Sondergaard that inspired you on designing with intimate materials and movements. Making Menard bits, a project on menstruation. This was, again, quite a shift. But as we got to know each other better, I got used to discuss female hygiene with you during our weekly coach meetings. Your project, We Are Cyclical Beings, was a speculative proposal for a museum exhibition with which you aimed to challenge the current beliefs around menstrual cycles and facilitate the debate on menstrual leave, free menstrual products, and the use of emerging technologies. But instead of continuing with this topic, you got in touch with a new hybrid art house who offered you the opportunity to do a project on measuring impact in museums. With your newly acquired ambition to work for museums, after you spent a whole year visiting museums every weekend, you had to take this challenge and develop a new vision on how to measure impact beyond our current ways of collecting data. You developed a beautiful manifesto about different ways of expressing the museum experience, including makeup art, spoken word, dance, and even cooking. A project that received compliments from both philosophers and curators. You kept on challenging me on what could or could not be considered as industrial design, and what was or was not allowed from an ethical point of view. I was really shocked to discover that as the two of one of my current master graduates, I was recognized from your report. So apparently, she was the one who had made it to describe her experience after visiting me for your research project. But I also thoroughly enjoyed our walks and discussions, which were a welcoming and warm alternative to the stress and continuous Teams meetings we were forced to have during the pandemic. We shared a love for the ice cream of intelligentsia, which I was happy to taste in yet again another challenge. Your portfolio. So while students typically hand in a link to a website with reflections on their development, in our program, you gave me an envelope which I had to open in front of our favorite ice cream shop at Strijpes. And while eating your favorite chocolate ice cream, I read about your past. After which I was invited to visit the Mew exhibition and experience your present. We finally discussed your future while eating pancakes and drinking beer made from local pears at the Philips Vrijtuinen. Although I still look forward to trying the cheese from your goat cheese farm in Greece, for now you've decided to work at the consultancy Jan Koolfield. I'm curious how you're doing there, as this was not entirely where I thought you would end up. On the other hand, you're an amazing and inspiring person who can lead a company towards new and innovative futures. Congratulations.
So, and by now, I hope that through the slides and the diplomas that we handed out with half of the graduates for now, gave you some impression actually what industrial design is. But we didn't start with that. We hope that you also picked up a bit that what we try to do is train designers to work with emerging technologies, to figure out how design actually relates to our biggest societal challenges. And what you might have also seen already is that we have quite a few expertise areas that we try to cover. On the one hand, from technology and math, data and computing, and to making things and really looking into user and society, into creativity and more the business and the leadership aspects of it. But to give you a bit more feel, it might be nice just to have a short break with some videos so that you also get a better impression of what it actually is that we are doing at industrial design and that the graduates have been doing at the department. Sorry, I was waiting for another video, but I thought it tasted like more, actually. But this was the taste then, the beetroot and the... Okay. But I hope that that gave a bit of impression of what we're actually trying to do is to shape a bit of the future, make that experiential, and dream what we could have in the future and make it created already right now, so that all of us can also interact with the world in new ways. But of course, why we are also here is not to inform you what we all are doing, but also to hand over even more diplomas. So it's my pleasure to ask forward Nikki, and now I have to figure out if I pronounce it correctly. Evstratio? Good enough. And what is the correct one?
Evstratio.
Evstratio. I hope that was a bit closer. And of course, I'd like to ask Bart Hengerveld, your coach, to address you and hand over the diploma.
Well, my name was spot on. That was really good.
Yeah, I trained for many years.
Yeah, I know. Oh God, that video, I'm really hungry now. We should never, ever show this again during these things. Anyway, we have something to look forward to. Dear Nikki, like my colleagues, I can only say that I'm really happy to finally see our students, because that's who you are. You're our students, not somebody else's, in the flesh, not behind a screen. Although I like how you framed it, Stefan, as sort of a window to the rest of the world, essentially. I fully agree. So I'm looking forward to handing you this diploma, but not before I finish my speech. So you need to wait for just a minute. So what I want to focus on, or what I have focused on in my speech, is that you actually embody many things that make coaching fun. So I'm going to talk about myself, but through you. So first of all, what is really nice is that you're eager to learn. So as soon as I met you, you started doing stuff that you didn't know anything about, but were interested in. And you just dove into topics that you found interesting because you found them interesting, which I think is really nice, and no matter the cost, you just pursued it. And then you did everything, essentially, you needed to make these interests work. So that's really nice, for us. But also for you. Well, secondly, a bonus is that you're also interested in exciting stuff. So, if you wouldn't be, the first quality would not be really a quality. It would just be like another semester of waiting for us. But luckily, you are really interested in exciting stuff. So for your FMP, what people in the room can see, you explored how, in this case, data visualizations and sonifications could support people's proprioception, which I thought was really nice. You just add modalities to make people better understand how they perceive their body. And to be more specific, you explored this in the context that was very close to you, i.e., people recovering from knee injury. And one of the very confrontational things in our meetings was that I had to accept that you are young and sporty and stuff, and you actually get real injuries, while I was just deepening the pit in my couch. So, yeah, thanks. But no, I found it really nice that you pursued something that was close to you and that would also allow you to actually make a positive change. So you gave these patients who have an irrational fear of pain also, you gave them handles to learn to trust their bodies again and take the next step. No pun intended. Thirdly, and of course most importantly, you actually listen to your coach. And it sounds like sort of an obvious thing, but it isn't, of course, because, it's nice to have smart students, but they're also sometimes too smart for their own good. But you actually listen to your coach, and I was really, you cannot imagine how nice it is to see your student a week later behind the screen, and then experience that she, in this case, completely internalized what you said the week before, and just took it further than you even expected. Sometimes coaching can be bliss, and it was with you. So in short, you are the kind of FMP student that I would like to keep here forever. But that would not be fair, because you've worked long and hard for this diploma, you fully deserve it. So all I can do is, I will tell one more anecdote, because I think part of what is very flattering is that you actually convinced somehow one of your friends to join our department, which I think is really nice. So we must have done, and she's here, there you go. Hi. So we must do something right. But you certainly did something right, which earned you this. Congratulations.
and Bart will stay around for a while. So it's my pleasure to ask forward Caro Heezakkers.
Hi. All right. Dear Caro, I'm truly happy to be handing over your diploma today. And I think you deserve it. I hope you agree. Otherwise, tell me now, and I stop right here. Good choice. Okay, there you go. Okay, good. So, when I was thinking about what to write on this piece of paper, or on the screen that I got so used to over the past year, I thought, wait a second, I've met you several times before your FMP. I probably forget some of these events, but I did list a few. So I remembered, sadly, that I met you at some point when you applied for a teaching assistant job from ID to Design, the first year course that I was running. And I say sadly because I turned you down. Sorry for that. Yeah, I don't know why. It must have been a flash of lunacy. But I declined you. Sorry. But you did get your revenge, because when I asked you the year after, you declined my request, essentially. So what goes around comes around. So we're even there. That should be fine. But I think we also, at some point around that time, probably shared a table at a Lucid Christmas dinner. Were you there? Because I remember sharing the table with Dikke Caro and Kleine Caro. These are not my adjectives. So I was explained, I thought by you, but maybe there's someone else, that there are 3 Caros. We have Dikke Caro, Kleine Caro, but I forgot what your nickname was in ID land. Do you actually know yourself?
I hope so.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so I thought you were there because I felt overwhelmed by the amounts of Caros, but maybe I was mistaken. I didn't see you there. Anyway, I share, of course, most experience with you from your FMP, which was the last year. And in your project, you worked on the topic of data physicalization. More specifically, the physicalization of air quality data, which is a really complex topic in itself, which you, for some reason, insisted on making even more complex for yourself. But I think it's a quality that you have. And you kept on asking many really deep questions, which is, of course, laudable, but it's not always the best way to help yourself forward. But, well, after all this time, you have discovered that I myself look at stuff really pragmatically. And I hope that I had some positive influence on the outcome of your work, although I have to say, you did an excellent job by yourself. But most of all, I hope that part of my hopefully good advice rubbed off on you, so that in future projects it might be easier for you to release your inner Bart. It will hopefully help. So, in any event, I'm super proud of how you yourself maneuvered through a very intriguing project. I found it really fascinating. And how you actually learn to give yourself direction without sacrificing your interest in stuff that is really complex and very interesting. So all I can say is you've worked really hard for the diploma, and you deserve it completely. So, congratulations. Oh my God, it's happening again.
Even more Caros.
Even more Caros, yes. Right. Fixed.
And then I would like to ask forward Sander Pauw.
Hi. You look very serious. Thank you. Sander, good to see you. In the flesh, finally. So, Sander, I was really impressed with your final master project. Not that it counts, well, a bit, because I assessed you, of course, but also I never doubted you, although I have to admit that the semester before, the M21, caused some worries in your assessment panel, because you really, you took the semester for what it's for, you invested in yourself, you wanted to explore stuff that you were not skilled in yet, and did a really good investment that actually paid off immensely in your M22, but it felt somewhat unfinished to the assessment panel. So at the start of your FMP, I was like, okay, so this is gonna be good hard work, for both of us. But to be honest, you took the worries away immediately and with flying colors after actually delivering, in my humble opinion, a fantastic single semester final master project. And I really want to stress the single semesteredness here, because what you delivered was really impressive, both in terms of the quantity of work that you did, but quantity isn't always quality, but also in the quality section you scored really, really well. So that made me super happy. I'm quite sure it also made you happy. So during your FMP, for the people at home or in the room, you designed essentially a shape-changing, or you can read it here, you designed a shape-changing computer mouse that through its behavior informs people, the people holding it, about the safety of what they're doing online. And not by flashing lights and lasers and other things, but through its tangible behavior, which I thought was really, really elegant. And it allowed you to explore the interest in shape-changing interfaces that you already tapped into the semester before, and actually work on a societally relevant thing. It was really, again, I will repeat myself, but it was very impressive how you went through a very nice, iterative, incremental process, ending up with a prototype with a body language that you could actually experience, you could actually evaluate it very structuredly, and you did this all very independently. I think the average coaching time with you was like 15 minutes per week.
And then we talked about the weekends.
And then we talked about the weekend, so how much fun can it be? So that was really nice. So it goes without saying that you really deserve the diploma that I will hand to you shortly, so just a bit more patience. So I have to say, we as coaches, I will speak for my colleagues as well, I think we're all typically happy when we don't need to talk about trivial stuff. Because that's in the past. We should talk about other stuff. But we become really happy, especially on Friday afternoons, when talking to students help us learn and help see things in a new perspective. Or students that make us work to keep up, if you catch my drift. And being your FMP coach as such was a real pleasure, because you kept me on my toes, you did really great and interesting work, and all in your vintage, friendly and relaxed way. So talking about the weekend with you was always a really, really good start. Thanks for all of that, and many congratulations.
And then we move on again. We have 4 graduates to go, and it's my pleasure to ask forward Yingli and the coach Junhoo.
Dear Ying, as Caroline pronounced it.
Yeah, sorry, that's the way. Probably, okay, let's redo. Then officially, Li Jing and Hu Jun. Is that then the better way?
That's much better, thank you. Li Jing, today is your day. You deserve your name being pronounced properly, so Li Jing. Not many people know that your name, Jing, means Chinese flower in English, with an extended meaning in Chinese literature, with in many contexts, means for best of the best. That is actually what I observed during your FMP. You strive always for the best. During your master's study, you were always very much interested in Internet of Things and connected objects. And in a conversation, Emilia and I convinced you that for your FMP, maybe you could do something with that for a special group of users, children with autism spectrum disorder, for stress management. You did not hesitate, and you said goodbye to Matthias Funk, and you joined me and Emilia for this challenge. You designed a pen. The pen is actually called a pen. A pen is equipped with sensors detecting the force applied in holding it and in writing with it. And the pattern of the change in the force is used as input for stress detection and for immediate feedback and stress management. Despite all the technical challenges, we could talk about signal processing, artificial intelligence, machine learning, etc., etc. You face many other obstacles, that you manage them with persistence, without compromise. Your user experiment is about stress in children with ASD. And every word in this, stress in children with ASD, raised an alarm, then 3 alarms, at the ethical review board. It arrived actually from our faculty ethical review board to the TUE Central ethical review board, and I was called into the meeting to explain to the board why we want to induce stress in ASD children. And we had to explain to the board that we plan to detect, not to induce, this stress. And that is different. Induce, detect, that's different. It was approved, and we were good to go. However, as many have already mentioned, COVID was not doing any favor to anyone. But throughout the process, you managed to conduct online interviews and later experiments in the field at the participant homes. You did not allow COVID-19 to be an excuse to stand in your way. The result was impressive. It was so impressive that the experts from Krakata would like to continue the collaboration in research funding and further research. It was so impressive that the China Scholarship Council has granted you a 4-year full scholarship to continue your research for a PhD degree. And it was so impressive that got the attention of our patent officers. They asked us not to disclose any more details about your project and stop publishing until they file the patent. Today at 9 a.m., the document for the patent application was finalized. Now I need to stop talking about your project in public because the patent officers advised so. It is not the end, it's a new start. Li Jing, Emilia, and I look forward to the 4-year adventure ahead of us for your PhD. Li Jing, best of the best. Congratulations.
So that means we move on to the next coach. And I would like to ask forward Renz, Janssen and his coach Erik van der Speck.
Dear Renz,
For your final master project, you researched how new immersive technologies like screens, holograms, or VR could help a currently slightly dusty museum create more engaging educative showpieces. It was mostly consultancy work where you mapped their interests and work practices to the affordances of different technologies. But you also developed some prototypes and ended up with a really cool mixed reality piece that you can see here. In your prototype, you could open the door of a closet and through that get a different view of the room around you. With mixed reality, you blend two different worlds together, the real world and the dream world. Forgive me for this bad bridge, but having coached you for most of your masters, this is what stays with me the most when I think about you. That there's a real world and that there's a dream world. Well, that's not entirely true. It's the fact that you're a really great student. I loved coaching you, and you did a rather excellent work throughout your 3 semesters. That's what will stay with me the most, but that will make a very boring speech. So let me go back to the 2 worlds that I'm thinking of. Because when you picked me as your mentor, you were actually pretty candid about it. You loved games and would like to do research in it for your M12, but there's no practical career future in games. And what you really wanted was to have Ad van Berlo, owner of the famous design company, as your mentor, because you're very business-oriented, and that would give you good career opportunities. And yeah, okay, I mean, beggars can be choosers, so okay, I was fine with that. And I can't really fault people who think that strategically, right? If you have a career path in front of you. Now, it didn't really pan out because Van Berlo retired, and for better or worse, you got stuck with me. But actually, you managed to combine the 2 viewpoints quite well. By doing this kind of business-oriented work for a museum that's focused on providing fun experiences for the visitors. And there was one anecdote, I think, that really showed your strategic way in that you thought about reaching your goals. Because under the business and entrepreneurship skills, at some point you explained that your main goal of your M12 was to get into the good graces of the management of the museum, to kiss up a little bit, and by really showing the value to them for what you were doing as a way so that you would get more opportunities for your final master project because they would want to help you more. Yeah, that's, I think, very smart thinking. Wait, did you also use this on me somehow? Okay, anyway. Throughout the master as mentors, we are focused on trying to get the students to develop a singular vision on design. And usually they start out by wanting to do everything at the same time, and then we try to squeeze and mold them. I mean, autonomously let the student grow towards what they find passion for. And it was the same with you, but I never really managed that. So it was always this, these 2 different realities. So what happens if you can't really flatten them? That there's a practical real world of your career and what you're good at and what you see can lead to success. And there's a dream world of passion, of things that interest you and that you really like. And, you know, maybe that's actually not that bad that these are 2 worlds, and they stay the 2 worlds because this is mixed reality, and that's my topic, and that's what you did very well for your final master project. So that, I think, shows that you know what you're doing, and that deserves a master.
Well, you're more than allowed to do it, but it's also my pleasure to ask forward Jolie Smets. And of course, Erik van der Speck.
So first off, my apologies. I might have overdone this a little bit, but I'll just talk faster. And I could not do it for Jolie. Because, dear Jolie, I may have occasionally joked to your friend Imke Beekmans that when she graduated, I felt like some important furniture of the Play and Learn squad went missing. Because she had been around for so long and left a bit of a void behind. Still, she doesn't have a patch on you. After 10 years of being a teacher, and what must feel like 10 years for you as being a student almost, or for those who are listening, it's not because she failed courses, but she went away for a year between her bachelor and a master, so it's still quite long. You were probably the student that I coached the most. Or when I say the most, I mean the longest, because after
teacher coaching, at least 5 semesters of project coaching, final bachelor project, final master project, you kind of run out of things to talk about, which is good, because the moment I run out of things to talk about is the moment when we have a diploma ceremony. So here we are. Which doesn't mean it ever became boring, in fact, quite the opposite. While you were always good, I feel everything really started falling into place near the end. Let's paint a picture. The first time we met, I think it was your first semester even, but you were definitely still very young. I remember Banks, I think. I was assigned your teacher coach, and we discussed what your future as a designer might look like. So you had an artistic inclination and liked games, and it was cool that we had that in common, but games and entertainment were definitely not a real career path. I'm starting to detect a pattern here. Anyway, second time I see you, you had done a first year project, I think it was first year, maybe second year, together with Julie Moons, I think, about a playful object that could motivate people to move more, if I recall correctly. And you needed my opinion because you two were going to start your own company to produce it. In fact, you probably didn't really need to do the study anymore because within a few years you'd be rich and famous and successful. Well, I didn't want to say anything about it that would hurt your pride and ambition, but at least with your newly discovered love for playful design, you started choosing me as your coach so that we could create some cool things together. And what cool things they were. A persuasive game to stop the rhinoceros hunt by playing such a hunter of rhinoceros, whatever, and then guilt-tripping them for what you have done. Oh, by the way, talking about coaching for a long time, that PhD student, Martijn Kors, just finished his thesis, and your game is also prominently featured in the thesis. Then an FEP project to help children of different schools integrate playfully on the schoolyard, and then it became time to start developing towards your master's specialization, which was by now squarely in the direction of designing for the Magic Circle. Initially, you decided to focus on the aesthetics of interaction in games, specifically the feeling of juiciness, and you wrote a paper that right after this weekend, I'm going to fly to Portugal to present at the Entertainment Computing Conference. I can't be sure, but I looked at the reviews, and I think there's a Best Paper Award coming. Then, for your final master project, you teamed up with Simulated Reality, a company that makes glasses-free 3D screens, mostly aimed at rather boring productivity and 3D simulations of cars, medical stuff, things like that. And for them, you wanted to extend this concept of juiciness and develop games for the 3D screen. But then you started struggling a bit. 3D games, VR, not exactly new. But instead of moving it back to the safe psychological research that you were so successful at in your M1-2, you went all the way into the creativity and aesthetics direction and dragged the engineers of the tech company, and me, of course, on a tour of artists, museums, and for your FMP, you wrote a kick-ass art manifesto about the affordances of this new immersive technology for art exhibitions. And this was something you actually did all by yourself. After being your coach for so long, not only was I left with nothing to teach you, you started teaching me. And Simulated Reality was so dumbfounded that they hired you on the spot. Which is, of course, great for you, but it leaves me with a void. And this one is going to take even longer to mend. If only I could have dragged you back to the safe psychological research, we may still have been writing papers together. Oh well, unlike Simulated Reality, at least I get to go to Portugal with your work.
And then last but certainly not least, I would like to ask forward Wiebe Oudenaard and Simone de Waard.
Hey, Wiebe. This is for later. Hi, Wiebe. Good to see you. And I don't know if it's the screen or seeing you live again, but is your beard longer?
No, it's actually quite shorter than it used to be.
You see, that's the difference in seeing you live again. So I'm really happy, and for all of you, of course, being here live today. So I first start with the introduction for your project, and then I come to your journey. Because with Schupke, you have delivered a concept for MaaS, the Mobility as a Service. And you pictured how we, as travelers, can experience a seamless, intuitive journey. while making use of one kind of a device. You can see it as a token that is able to connect different travel items. So you can go from public transport to a step or a rented car, and you even created a business model behind it for different stakeholders, taking care of the protection of your data, because that's important for you. So we do not often see this very interesting combination that you've made with your background, because you have a very strong visual graphic background and also able to prototype these things really well. And you combined it with design research within ID. And you also represented your entrepreneurial business skills. So this is your project, talking about journeys. I also like to talk about your personal journey. You always said, like, in good Dutch, halverwege gooi ik alles om. Like, you know I'm going to change things halfway. This is one of your sayings, and it typifies you really well. So what also typifies you, that you are a very energetic personality. You now look really timid here, but I know you as a really enthusiastic, energetic person. A bit stubborn, because you like to experience everything yourself before getting to finally think about, oh, maybe I do need some support. And then you check it, also with me, with other experts, and then you know you're on the safe side. So it's also to convince again. You're verbally and visually very strong, and you are able to convince people as well as seduce them. And this is also what you did with your story. You know how to win people over, and so you did with me when you started asking me for a coach for your final master project. So coming to your journey, which might be a little bit less seamless and less predictable, but you entered the master program after you finished your study at the HKU, the art school in Utrecht, with an interest in interaction design and design for debate. And after a working period at the Heineken, they offered you a job, but you said you decided, no, I go for a master in industrial design. So it was deep search, also creating your vision to be able to make what was really your interest in your field of future mobility, because you had so many interests. We had so many really good discussions about this, and you even visualized the subjects that you're interested in to link it, which I still also use for other students who are on the lookout for a better understanding and their own guidance in their own identity and vision. So thank you for that. So you have started your project at Smart Mobility at that time, and it was Future Mobility after that, with a convincing online platform to test future concepts to gain feedback from future users and help stakeholders, such as provinces and cities, to even brand and co-create the concepts. In your final master, you began working with Valtech. That was also another business experience for you. And you created concepts for a smooth transition in on and offline retail experiences. It was not easy for you in COVID times, and it was really tough, also because you really like to interact with people live in live settings. So I'm really happy for you now that this is, I hope, as far as now, over for you. Because you definitely, this is where you flower best. So you had you have a holistic design approach, and you said, oh, I'm not an expert, but I'm more of a generalist, but I also like to guide a team of experts. So you still were looking for your role and what you would like to be. And you cared about the privacy for people. What you missed also in this faculty is the making, which finally became one of the strong deliverables that you have created for the shopping experience as well, to connect it and visualize this data also, to drop your data in a basket while leaving the shop. So sometimes you gave up on the academic world as seen as an academic bubble, since you also have been working in practice. You said it's a real world, but at the same time you showed your eagerness and learning willingness to get a real deep understanding and the issues you are facing in doing research, and became really good at it. And you found your own original way. So halfway you changed the final setup, as I've said before, but you also showed that you have the guts to turn around things, which is definitely a strength as a designer and an entrepreneur. You managed to speed up the process and convince with all your final work and even the way you presented it. So I have the feeling that everything came together in the end. So I don't want to talk more about that, and only that you also had a mission to ensure that designers continue to make and link the digital work to the physical products, and you have shown that how important it is and that you're able to, and make a difference. You have a bright future in front of you, I would say, as an entrepreneurial designer, also partly with your own practice and looking for also more work in a team. So before I like to give you a diploma and congratulate you with your Master of Science, I also have a little gift because you don't have your family with you today, they couldn't come. Because I think it's also good for you to always, even not being this perfectionist all the time, but also celebrate the good things, and you really deserve it. So I'm happy to hand in your diploma.
Oh ja?
Op een goede manier. And although you might be asking what that last flower arrangement is still doing there, we have come to the end of, almost at the end of this ceremony. So first of all, I would say a big hand for all the new Masters of Science in Industrial Design. Congratulations from the entire department with your diploma. Unfortunately, that's not the only thing. Because with the diploma, you also have some obligations and you have some rights. And it's up to me now to pronounce it to you. In case you would not agree, that means that you can hand over the diploma back if you like. But this is actually what you signed into. The scientific degree of master involves duties as well as rights. As a holder of this degree, you are committed to standards of scientific integrity, trustworthiness, intellectual honesty, openness, independence, and societal responsibility. These standards are described in more detail in the Netherlands Code of Conduct for Research Integrity and in the Eindhoven Code based on it. You also have duties towards the society. You must be clear about the boundaries of your own expertise, and you must communicate honestly and independently about the results of your work, including potential risks associated with it. You are committed to the ethical codes for research and design involving human subjects and animals. Any second thoughts? No? Then I would say a big hand for our new graduates. And it means also now that you moved from a graduate and a student to an alumni. So it's my true pleasure to invite Roy van der Heuvel to say something on behalf of the Alumni Association.
Hi everyone, congratulations with getting your master's degree. I know over the last couple of, 18 months it's been trying and it's been hard for us to meet physically. I hope that after that period we can meet up again physically as well as digitally now as alumni. We often host activities. We haven't been so active over the last year, but we hope to kickstart that soon again with activities such as drinks, lectures, and social events that we host. Find us both on LinkedIn as well as on our website, as well as on the new TUE alumni community page. Make sure to subscribe to get up to date on the latest activities that we do, as well as news from your fellow community members. Secondly, of course, we hope to see you at events like the Dutch Design Week, and perhaps the demo days, and we hope you still visit them to be inspired by work of the new students in the faculty. Congratulations to the family and friends as well. We hope to see you soon at one of our events, at least, or at the demo day, maybe in December. So congratulations, and see you soon. Oh, and we have a little movie to kick off.
I'm Joep Elderman. Martijn Verburg.
Paul van Beek.
I'm co-founder at Bureau Moeilijke Dingen. What we're trying to do is creating connected IoT proposals for other companies in a meaningful way. I make a lot of the connected probes that are part of our proposition. So these are either low energy data gathering probes or some probes that people have physical interactions with.
And I'm a full stack designer. As a full stack designer, you go all the way from the back end to the front end and maybe even more, and try to capture that in a fully working proof of concept that you can then communicate to a technical team that has way more resources to go to a production environment.
What I like about being an interaction designer is that I really work for people, and that what you do really has impact on how people perceive your product or service or system or whatever. And not just make exactly what the client wants, but involve the user to get to a higher level.
Looking back at the studies, it really helped me in getting the right mindset. I really learned to break the endless analysis cycle through making and experimenting with prototypes.
It's very easy for an ID student to see the system in a holistic view, and then later on in the process zoom in and then really pay attention to the detail and make sure that the balances are right. And I think that's something that you don't see that often in other studies.
What I'm most proud of is that we were able to build a company from extending the things we liked at industrial design. Our visions on design were quite aligned, but there are still some differences, and I think that triggers really interesting discussions. For example, the future of AI, the future of IoT. It often also results in a new direction for ourselves, creates more valuable insights for all of us.
We are Bureau Moeilijke Dingen, industrial design alumni of the TU Eindhoven.
So that means that we come to the end. I think for me to stress the plea of Roy, it would be really nice that you join the alumni and that we see you very often. Because as also our alumni from Bureau Moeilijke Dingen said, you will now be developing further, but we have new generations coming in. And it's really beautiful to see if we can work as a meshwork, almost like supporting each other, building on each other's shoulders, and just showing the beauty of design and what it can do, both on the emerging technology side and also on the impact on the societal challenges and how we bring those forward. But that will happen in due time, I hope. I think for now, we've come to the moment that we have to do two things. Of course, one is celebrating with a drink and to have a toast all together, which can't be done in this room, but we can do that later on that side. So I will invite all the friends and families and everyone here just to go to the, on my end, I'm always bad on left and right. On my left end, and then it's on your right end. But actually for the alumni, you are basically now alumni, but let's still stick a bit with the graduates. And the Master of Science, together with the coaches, we will go to the other hand to first make a photo. So we're splitting this a bit, so give us just a bit of time to make a nice photo as a remembrance, and then afterwards we all have a drink together. So we will go that way, and you all will go that way. So thank you again. We come to the end, and I hope to see you with a drink. Enjoy and congrats.